In the hills of Sultanpur, Pakistan, a 6-year-old mute girl named Shahida lives with her family. One afternoon, while playing on a hill, she accidentally falls off. When she doesn't return home by nightfall, the villagers organize a search party. After hours of searching, they find her clinging to a branch protruding from the hill, where she's been stuck all day, unable to call for help due to her disability. The next morning, her parents and neighbors gather to discuss how they can help her. An older man suggests taking her to the shrine of Sufi Saint Nizamuddin-e-Auliya in Delhi, India. The religious family believes visiting the holy shrine will bring peace, happiness, and most importantly, restore Shahida's speech. Shahida's father, a former soldier who once fought against the Indian army, doubts he will get a visa to India. So, her mother Razia decides to make the journey herself, traveling far from the village for the first time. The trip goes smoothly, and they reach the shrine, offer prayers, and then board a train back to Pakistan. On the return trip, the train stops for repairs. At night, while everyone is asleep, Shahida sees a lamb trapped in a pit near the train. Without hesitation, she goes out to rescue it, but the train departs before she can return. She runs after the train, but can't catch up. Desperate to follow her mother, she boards a freight train, but it goes the opposite way, taking her to Kurukshetra, India. Razia, realizing her daughter is missing, stops the train, and the police begin searching for Shahida along the tracks. They can't find Shahida because she's already somewhere else. Razia meets her husband, who is deeply worried about their daughter. They can't get an immediate visa back to India, leaving them dismayed. All they can do is pray for their daughter's safety. Meanwhile, Shahida is lost in a foreign country with no way to communicate. During a festival, she notices a man eating at a street-side restaurant. The man, Pawan Kumar Chaturvedi, invites her to join him for a meal. After a few attempts to get her to speak, he realizes she's mute and starts calling her money. Money, hungry and without direction, follows Pawan around. Thinking she got separated from her parents during the festival, he tells her to stay by a temple. A devout Hindu Brahmin, Pawan believes that Lord Hanuman will guide money back to her family if she waits in front of his temple. But when she keeps following him, he takes her to the police station. Since Money can't give them any information about her parents, the police can only wait for a missing person report. Until her parents are found, Money needs a place to stay, so Pawan decides to take her in. On the way to his home in Delhi, he jokingly tells Money to call him Mama if she ever speaks. He also names various Indian cities, hoping she might recognize where her family is. Fellow bus passengers join in, though none mention places outside of India. As they travel, Pawan shares how he came to Delhi for work. A flashback shows his school days, where he struggled academically, failing his final exams several times. Unlike his friends who cheated, Pawan refused to lie, being a loyal devotee of Lord Hanuman. He eventually passed on his 11th attempt and came to Delhi to find work, staying with his father's friend Pandi, a strict Hindu who barred followers of other religions from his home. Rasika, Pandey's daughter, offered Pawan a job at the school where she taught and soon fell in love with his innocent persona. But Pandey, being a strict father, told Pawan to build his own house before he could marry Rasika. Since then, Pawan and Rasika have been working hard to save money. They plan to get married sometime next year. Everyone on the bus is impressed by Pawan's story. He and Money reach his home, where Rasika greets them at the door. She is happy that Pawan is helping a little girl in need, but Pandey is concerned. He worries that Money may belong to a different religion. Pawan convinces him that Money is Hindu because of her fair skin and persuades him to let her stay for a month. Money cries every day, missing her parents, even though Pawan and Rasika treat her like their own daughter. The whole family is vegetarian, but Money is used to eating meat with every meal, so she rarely finishes her food. One day, Pawan and Rasika find her in a Muslim neighbor's house eating chicken. That evening, Pawan takes her to a restaurant and lets her eat whatever she likes, even though eating meat goes against his religion. Money loves the glittering bangles sold on the street. One day, while walking through a market, she picks up a pack of bangles, but the vendor stops her. Pawan makes her return them and takes her to the temple to apologize to God for stealing. As he teaches her to join her hands, Money sneaks into a nearby mosque. Powen hesitates, but follows her inside. To his surprise, he finds her reading the Quran in front of a shrine. For a few minutes, he feels betrayed, as he would never have befriended a Muslim. But Rasika helps him realize that money is human first, not defined by her religion. She hates that her father discriminates based on religion and wants Powen to be different. Powen understands and rushes into the mosque to get money, but she has already left. As he nervously searches for her, she runs to him and hugs him tightly. In that moment, he accepts her completely, overcoming his irrational fear of defying his religion. That night, the family watches the cricket match between Pakistan and India on TV, cheering for India, except for Money, who cheers when Pakistan scores. When Pakistan wins, she dances and kisses their flag through the TV. Powen asks her if she is from Pakistan. After weeks of shaking her head at every Indian city, Money finally nods yes. Pandey is furious. Being a Muslim was already bad enough, but now that the girl is from Pakistan, he can no longer let her stay in their home. Powen promises to take her to the Pakistani embassy the next day. However, the embassy worker says they cannot issue her a visa without a passport. Since they don't even know her real name, a visa is impossible. A riot breaks out in front of the embassy, shutting down all visa processing for a month. As a last resort, Powen takes her to a travel agent. On Pandey's advice, the agent promises to take the little girl across the border for 1 lakh rupees. Powen and Rakisa give up their house savings to help Money. The next day, Powen reluctantly brings Money to the agent's office, bidding her a tearful farewell before leaving. On his way home, he sees a street vendor selling glittering bangles, remembering that Money liked them, so he buys one for her. But when he returns to the travel agent's office, he discovers he's been cheated. The agent has taken the little girl to a brothel and is about to sell her into prostitution. Powen, usually calm, loses his temper at the sight of the agent counting the money meant for Money's safe journey. He throws the man out of the window and takes Money home again. Powen decides to bring Money back himself, despite having no connections or knowledge of Pakistani villages. He packs his bag and heads toward the border. A few miles away, they meet a secret agent named Ali, who helps people cross the border illegally through a tunnel. After hearing Money's story, Ali agrees to take them for free. When they reach the Pakistani side, Ali leaves, but Powen, devoted to Lord Hanuman, insists on asking the guards for permission. The officers find him and beat him up, while Money watches and cries. Powen pretends to laugh through the pain to keep her from being afraid. After learning why he's there, the head soldier gives him 10 minutes to do as he wishes before they return. Powen waits, even though he knows they haven't permitted him to leave. His choice seems foolish, and he gets beaten up again, but eventually, the soldiers grant him permission to go. In the next scene, Powen and Money are in a restaurant together. Money mistakes a cop's handcuffs for a bracelet and steals them. When the cop notices, he throws Powen in jail, accusing him of being an Indian spy since he has no passport. Meanwhile, Chand Nawab, a struggling journalist, hears about the alleged spy and rushes to the police station to interview him. After a few vague responses from Powen, Nawab reports back to his media company, saying he doesn't take him seriously. Inside the station, a cop questions Powen, but refuses to believe his story. Suddenly, Money spots a picture on a desk calendar and recognizes it as her village. Powen is thrilled until the cop forcefully makes Money open her mouth. Angered, Powen attacks the officer, bringing even more trouble upon himself. He fights off the police and manages to escape. Nawab witnesses the escape and follows Powen. They board a bus where Powen shows the conductor their destination and explains Money's story. Nawab and the travelers realize he's a good person and decide to help him. When the police come searching, they hide him and Money on top of the bus. That night, Nawab, Powen, and Money stay at a mosque where a religious scholar named Azad helps hide them from the police. As the police search the city for the alleged spy, one of Azad's students notices Switzerland on the picture that Money thought was her village. With that discovery, they're back to square one. Azad disguises Powen and Nawab in burqas and manages to sneak them out of the city without the police noticing. Powen, who knew little about Islam before, feels strange in traditional clothing, but he apologizes to his God and is willing to do anything for money. Over the next few days, Pawan and Nawab take money to different places, asking people if they know her. Nawab records their journey and captures the bond between money and Pawan. He tries selling the documentary to news channels, but they all refuse, saying it's boring. To reach more people, they decide to spread the news online for help. One day, at a famous mosque, they see police officers searching for them. Nawab realizes that his cameraman friend is feeding information to the police. The trio quickly escapes and gives the cameraman false information to mislead the police. Later, while reviewing footage from the mosque visit, Money spots her mother in a clip. The next day, they find the bus driver from that clip who names the villages on his route. When he mentions Sultanpur, Money confirms it's her home. Nawab and Pawan hug, thrilled to have found her village. Nawab uploads the video documentary to YouTube, but this also alerts the police to their location. On their way to Sultanpur, the police stop the bus for inspection. With no other option, Pawan steps into view and pretends to run, distracting the officers who chase him. Meanwhile, Nawab takes Money back to her village, where she runs to her mother, reuniting with her family in an emotional embrace. Elsewhere, the police capture and beat Pawan. Soon, the story goes viral on YouTube, drawing attention from major news channels. People realize Pawan isn't a spy, but is imprisoned for helping a young girl. Support pours in from both Indian and Pakistani citizens, yet Pakistani authorities refuse to release him. In prison, they torture him, beating him, nearly drowning him, and starving him. In response, Nawab posts another video on a larger platform, rallying people to gather at the border and demand Pawan's safe return. The plan succeeds, and crowds from both countries gather at the border. Rasika and her family wait eagerly in the crowd. Facing intense public pressure, the officials finally back down. As Pawan crosses the border, the crowd cheers, chanting his name. During the celebration, Money waves but can't call out. Suddenly, she shouts Mama, the name Pawan had once hoped she would use. The crowd falls silent as she yells her farewell. Pawan turns in surprise, and they run to each other, embracing tightly. And that's how the movie ends. What did you think of this movie? Let us know in the comments below. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and press the bell icon for more amazing videos. See you next time.